Jack the Ripper was a female. I actually.
So
I
that's
think,
kind of my take on it,
yeah,
and that's
I think
going to
this.
be the angle I go. I'm going to try to see. Are we missing something because of the name Jack and the
Yeah,
Jack the Ripper? Could it have
yeah,
been
yeah,
Jacqueline the Ripper? You know,
yeah,
that's going
yeah,
to be kind
yeah,
of my take on that.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to explore that.
And to add
Um,
to that, I'm gonna start like with you said, urban legends and scary stories.
mhm.
Like, I want to start diving into like how they're shaping our culture as of late.
He's going to come in with
Nice.
cryptoid scary stories. He's going to be part of the darker things.
Sweet.
Come on board.
Nice.
Good.
Nice. What a question I want to ask as well in terms of dark things. Are you looking at doing unsolved cases?
Absolutely unsolved
Yeah.
cases.
Because
Lizzie Borden was actually kind of my first stab at quote unquote an unsolved case, because you can't say she was guilty if she was acquitted.
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So there's evidence there, or the begs to question. I mean, how solid? I think I mentioned it in the video, but I may not have touched on it as strongly as I probably should in watching it back. But there's evidence there that suggests that their maternal uncle, John Morse, could have been the guy. Because just because he says he was on a car with 7 priests, yeah, the car conductor says there were 7 priests, but you know what? He didn't see John Morse.
Yeah, exactly.
Was he really on that? Was he really on that car? Oh no. Coincidentally, and I think I mentioned it, he was the one who stayed in the room that Abby was found murdered in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Coincidence? I think not.
coincidence or not? I think not.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just like
absolutely,
with
absolutely.
it's just like with Lizzie Borden. You know what I mean? Most people don't even know that she was released of all charges. Like at the end of it, you know, everybody just thinks that she actually committed the murders and she was found guilty, but that's not the case. It's like they actually released her, you know, and
Fully acquitted.
the mysterious part of it is like when it comes to Lizzie Borden's story, is there could be implications that her father was messing with her, you know what I mean? And that's never brought up, like the fact that she could have been touched by him, you know, and that's why she did what she did, if she did it.
Yeah, I almost actually talked about that, Roger, during my segment, but I kind of said, well, no, this person was murdered. I'm not going to try to misalign somebody who's not around necessarily to speak for themselves.
Right.
But I kind of didn't want to do that. That's why I didn't touch on that particular element. You know, there's something that went down, and I didn't talk about it in the video, that people say might have been Lizzie's motivation for murdering her dad. And that's what she had, I believe it was homing pigeons. She and Emma had raised these homing pigeons. And the dad, about 4 or 5 days before the murder, went and killed the homing pigeons and served them as the meal for the family. Had Bridget Sullivan, the maid, served those pigeons as the meal to the family. So these apparently were something that Lizzie was very close to, cared for these animals, and she had more of an affinity than, let's say, Emma. But again, I can imagine how traumatic that would be. My mom even told me one time of a story where my mom and her family, they were like pioneers. Her dad, my maternal grandfather, was like a pioneer, and they moved around a lot. They raised their own food. You know what I'm saying? Not just plant life, but animals. My mom said that she and her sisters, so it's kind of like how I can empathize. She and her sisters would dress up the baby pigs and give them names, and he'd be like, might not want to do that. You might not want to do that. Don't get close to that pig. And one particular evening, my grandfather, I guess, had too much liquor. He was getting mean. And he asked my mom if she was enjoying her pork chops. And she goes, yes. He goes, I guess Bessie tastes good then, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like, I had like a moment when I was hearing that detail of Lizzie's life going, oh my gosh, this is what my mom kind of went through. This is kind of scary, you know? You're consuming something you cared about, you loved. That's like, unnerving.
It's amazing. Now, what we need to hear a little bit more from Young Gen over there. So, what's your take on all that stuff? What we were just discussing.
So with the whole, like I said, I'm gonna start diving into the cryptids and lore side of that, like the Flatwoods monster,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, like some of the like the whole thing with Slenderman and how there was the court case
Yeah.
about the two girls who tried to attempt to kill their friend. I want to get into some of that too, explaining how are these scary stories affecting the minds of our people today.
Exactly. Now, see, that's a good topic because I've tried to stay away from Slender Man because I know that it's just an urban legend. You know what I mean? That was pretty much an internet creation, but I really think that would
It
be
started off as a short story.
right. And I really think where you're going there is a good idea too, because that's something that does need to be discussed. That murder case, I've actually read up on it and stuff, and like a lot of people don't know about that. They're not even aware of it. So I like that. Now, what's your favorite cryptid?
My favorite cryptid is got to be the Jersey Devil.
Jersey Devil. All right. What interests you the most about them?
Well, it's more the lore around the Jersey Devil, about how it's that one stretch of road that it seems to stay on, and it's faster than the car, and yet these people have still found a way to stay alive. And the description of the creature.
So after that, what's your take on the Wendigo?
The Wendigo legends, because my dad and I do have some Indian heritage in us.
Mhm.
I don't really want to speak on it. It has to do with the faith part of the Indian culture.
Yeah, I know.
We
But-
speak on it, it brings the curse.
See,
Yeah, we're no curses here, guys. No curses here.
see, I'm a white guy, so I can talk about the Wendigo as long as I'm not.
Because part of the stuff too is we say if you don't believe that the Wendigo is real,
You
it's
shouldn't
not
have
gonna bother you. But it's real. Talking about it in detail and what it does will bring bad stuff upon your
bad
family.
juju, bad juju.
Yeah,
Oh,
you'd end
yeah.
up having to go to the medicine man, let him do traditional
Yeah.
ceremonies on
Yeah,
you.
I might have to pay a trip to New Mexico somewhere.
One of the things I do plan on talking about though from Indian culture is the shapeshifters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, that's a good topic right there. Now, I did a stream here recently on the Dogmen. Now, what do you believe about the Dogmen?
I haven't heard much about that yet.
Okay,
It's something new to my ears.
so if you check into that, just realize that that's a new pop culture lore. It's kind of like the Slender Man, right? It only started up with it since after the 80s, but before that they haven't been mentioned. So just be aware of that when you get into that. I'd classify that more as urban legends, basically.
Like gray-eyed children.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And Dogman. Note, Dogman. Okay.
what do you got to say now, Zach?
I don't know, man. I mean, classic ones is like Bigfoot and Chupacabra. That's one that's always fascinating.
Chupacabra
me a
right
little
here in
bit.
Texas,
Well,
baby.
we've
Yeah.
had chupacabra sightings in Texas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like that's always one that's kind of like fascinating me. Loch Ness monster is a big one over here. Good old Nessie, good old Nessie. I mean, I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't think I can't think of many that are kind of like English cryptids apart from Nessie. So I don't really have experience in the topic, but like, obviously, Bigfoot's a big one. You've got the Chupacabra. You've got Obviously, you got Slender Man. I know of them, but like I've never dived into them. So, but it'd be exciting to see the stories. It'd be exciting to hear some some of the things that you've got planned for that, man. I'm looking forward to that. Like I'm all for learning like new stuff. I'm a sucker for learning, so I'm looking forward to that. Sounds good.
Now, Fallen wants to know, what about the skinwalkers? Those are popular these days.
So
Definitely gonna cover skin.
I will cover skinwalkers with both sides of skinwalkers, because there's the Native American belief of skinwalkers and there's the Mexican belief of skinwalkers.
Oh, interesting. That'd be good. That will be good.
Skinwalkers is probably gonna be us working together.
Yeah.
So be him telling some stories, and then us actually, or me actually doing the narrative, and then him telling stories.
Because if I could ever get out to Nevada to go to Skinwalker Ranch to get some B-roll footage for the video, I would love to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think we're gonna also cover, because it's again right here in Texas. How many of you have heard of La Llorona?
A weeping woman.
Oh yeah. I've heard of La Llorona. Yeah.
So we're gonna cover that. We might have to go down to the Rio Grande Valley and be near the river.
And I have a personal story with that one.
Oh, interesting.
I wasn't even aware of that. I know. I can't wait to
Yeah, nice. We love that. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So,
And how are you? When are you planning on starting this? Or when are you looking
I'm
at?
starting to work on the first script. It's gonna take me a while because I want to make sure it's at the same quality that my dad's putting out.
Yeah. That makes
I
sense.
want to make sure it's perfect.
Yeah, 100%.
My stuff is not perfect. It's far from perfect.
Well, I mean, as close to perfect as I can get it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, like if you put like we said throughout this recording, this interview, this stream, it is it's that passion. If you want, if you're, it looks like you're very interested in it. So I'm looking forward to watching them and learning about it. So.
The scary myths, urban legends, that stuff.
Yeah,
I've
man.
been interested in that stuff since I was a little kid.
Yeah, that's it.
that's
yeah.
where the passion should be.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm the same, but like, do not get me watching horror movies. I won't watch horror movies, but give me a crime documentary in the week. I'll sleep like a baby.
I
wouldn't want to be one necessarily to put people to sleep, but yeah.
No, that's not what I mean.
Hey, that's what these podcasts are good for.
Doug, it's that sensuous voice, baby. It just sends me to sleep.
I told him a long time ago if he wanted to do voice acting or do ASMR, people would probably listen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Darker Things.
Wait a minute. We can be AI. You can be my voice. What's that?
Zach.
Why is Doug just some British guy now? What the fuck's going on? Well, I got British and Scottish and Irish all like over the place, right? So
nice.
I think when I visited England in 1990 with the California Ambassadors of Music.
Wow,
and we spent 3 days in London, and all it took was 3 days for me to pick up a dialect.
Oh,
because I'm not a native, right? I picked up a little bit of Cockney and a little bit of
just jumbled together.
It was weird. At one point I sound talking, the other time I sound very proper.
I love that.
It was extreme. But and then I'm classically trained in theater, so Shakespeare.
Yeah.
That was a must. I had to go see the theater on Avon and dive into that. That's part of, again, why I got into YouTube in the first place, was because I was missing that acting bug.
Yeah.
And to some extent, because I'm able, but I'm not really, well, how do I put it? You're told to become the best actor that you can be as a performer, you have to bring yourself to the role. And that's hard for some people to conceive or to get a concept of, right? Because well, I wouldn't do. No, you wouldn't do that, but